So we got the Ghana president petitioning the UN for reparations.
Truth begins with language, with the power that words hold to shape consciousness and to shift perspectives to propel an action or other.
Not for us, not for the actual slaves or the people that were enslaved, or for the ancestors of the formerly enslaved, but for Ghanaians.
There's no such thing as a slave. There were human beings who were trafficked and then enslaved by people who believed they could own those human beings as chattels, as their personal property.
I guess they wanted the world to say slavery was an atrocity, it never should have happened, and there should be some type of compensation to Africa?
Not all those who were loaded onto the ships survived the voyage. A number of the ships sank with their entire human cargo.
But people to make the declaration that this is the worst atrocity that's ever visited upon the human beings. Because it's not just killing you, it's not just you, it's all your descendants. It's everything, it's every dream and hope that you could ever have.
Business was booming because when labor is free, profit margins are huge. African lives were disposable.
The U.S. is saying who would get the money and who would be the beneficiary or whatever you're talking about. I have a hard time disagreeing with that part.
In addition to its obvious legal problems, this resolution is also unclear as to who the recipients of reparatory justice would be. The drafters and supporters of this resolution seem to believe it is them. The United States strongly objects to the cynical usage of historical wrongs as a leverage point in an attempt to reallocate modern resources to people and nations who are distantly related to the historical victims.
Because I don't know how Ghana is claiming to be victims of something they were willing to participate in. In fact, truth be told, there's slaves in Ghana right now.
The International Labour Organization estimates there are 10 million children living in slavery around the world. 20,000 of them, they say, work here on this lake. CNN was granted unprecedented access on board a boat, where these child slaves labor daily. Some so young, it's almost unbelievable.
You know, all y'all people that tell me that we need to go to Africa and all this shit on that Pan-African stuff, why would I want to go to a place where there's a bunch of swindlers and backstabbers and self-serving propagandists and opportunists? I mean, that's what it seems like to me, fam. I mean, why else would you do this? This is not for us. In fact, this is none of my business. I'm only reporting on it because I know what's important to the culture. And it's a conversation that my viewers are going to be watching my fellow commentators talk about, so it's important for me to weigh in and let people know where I stand. And I want to be emphatic. I'm going to be very clear and say, fuck this.
Okay, don't let that news story fool you where they said that the United States wasn't going to allow reparations and get yourself upset and be like, no, just Trump is racist. Now, yes, I'm going to tell you that the U.S., Israel, and Argentina, the three countries that voted against it, they're absolutely, yes, they're racist. They don't want to have reparations. But that's not the full story. The story is what has been going on for a long time in the ethnic Black American community, the foundational community, Sulan, whatever you choose to call yourself, indigenous, is that Ghana came over here, the descendants of the slave traders came over here and petitioned the UN to give them reparations based on our experiences as ethnic Black Americans.
Right.
And if it was voted yes and they got the reparations, it was going to be sent back to Ghana. We wouldn't have seen any of it.
Right. I don't agree with what God is doing. I don't see it as a bonus that you got the United States to say, nah. We get the United States to say nah all the time. Da, 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 da. Hey, hell no. That's not a new thing for them to say that. I don't really get it. I guess when you're really pressed to make this alliance with Africa for whatever reason, because you get money out of it, That's really what the reason is. Are we gonna act crazy? These people that keep on trying to force the issue for us to be nice about a continent that never came to pick our ass up, I got a problem with. Don't even make sense. But when you can pick up some money, that makes sense then, because that's what y'all doing. Now, it doesn't benefit Black Americans for Ghana to get money for our ancestors being enslaved. That's crazy. Just what you should do. You should record yourself saying dumb shit like that, play it back a couple times, and then decide to put your video out. Make sure, because that sounds like crazy talk. That would be like Nazis trying to get reparations for the Holocaust. This shit don't make sense.
For them to ask for reparations, it's like, how are you going to ask for reparations for an operation that you were involved in and continue to this day to still be involved in? It's still slave trading going on, not just in West Africa, but North Africa, other parts of Africa. So it just doesn't, it's just like, come on now, it doesn't add up, doesn't even make sense. And then my thing is, y'all weren't even the actual victims of it. The victims were the people who were actually trafficked from that area and brought to the Americas. The descendants of those people would be the ones who would be owed the reparations, not the people that sold them into it or who was doing business with the colonizers to sell them into it.
If you are over 40 years old, you may recall a time when Black Americans were more invested in this reach back to Africa, understanding Africa. I remember learning about Kwanzaa. I remember I had a African medallion. I remember embracing these concepts. The red, the black, and the green with the K. Sissy! I remember this. Who doesn't remember this? I noticed that Dave Chappelle had to take the sissy part out of his Chappelle show thing. Anyway, he used to have that in a montage in all his shows. But I guess people complain because sissy's a bad word. The point is, once upon a time, fam, Black Americans were a lot more connected to this. But see, something happened. Something happened over the years when we realized maybe it was better for us to be more focused on Black American issues. Oh, I forgot what it was. Common sense. Was there nobody in Africa coming to get our ass? If anything, they're over there mimicking what we do. They coming over here to get a part of America to assimilate with us to get what we got. Not the other way around. So we need to focus on being connected to being Black in America, Black Americans. And that just happened. That happened organically. There wasn't a CIA plot to make us want to be that way. There wasn't, oh no, they're afraid that Black Americans and Africans are going to team up. Now, I don't believe that conspiracy bullshit. There's no reason to team up with them to do what? To do what? You don't realize how Americanized you actually are. Okay? You're like a grid that stays up 24/7. And you don't like to have different prices for everything that you want to buy because somebody want to mark up the shit. And plus, we're already here, and this is where your mother's mother, father's father was born. So yeah, that makes sense. So this notion that this started because Tariq Nasheed, or this started because of insert name of whatever, dog. Tariq Nasheed and I, we're of the same age bracket. We Gen X. We cut our teeth on the few Snickers or the X-Clan, Public Enemy. You know, we all grew up in this era. And our mentality change towards Africa, becoming more focused on America, boys in the hood. Remember when Lawrence Fishburne was talking about investing in the community? It was a change in consciousness about what was important to Black Americans. This is not a CIA. I know you want it to be. I think the people that are saying that are agents. It's nothing but a natural outgrowth of where we have moved culturally as people, organically, not by artificial stimulation, not by manipulation, but just by the actual movement of the culture. We are not in the 80s. This is not 1994, another summer. It was in 91. Things have moved in 30 years. Thank God. So let's keep going, guys. I want to listen to this next clip. It's on the same topic, and then we'll wrap it up. But walk with me here, fam. I think part of the problem is we easily led astray by people who want to put in convenient narratives to try to discredit something that they can't control. They don't like the outcome. They want to control us. Fam, why is it that Black Americans ain't trying to control Africans? If anything, we need to sue Africa for selling us to the colonizers. Hey, how about that? How about we do that? How about we do a counter lawsuit, a countersuit? Yeah, Cory Bush, Representative Cory Bush. How about a counter lawsuit? Come back on the Tim Black Show, Cory Bush. How about a counter lawsuit against those African countries that sold us to begin with? How about that? Because we weren't captured by the whites. We were captured by the Africans. So how about we do a counter lawsuit on their ass? Since they try to get up, since they try to do an in around on us, since they try to throw shit in the game, since they try to play us, they're trying to leave us gaffle cube, how about we beat them to the punch?
Generational theft of the wealth of generations of African Americans. And just crossing out a racist policy and replacing it with a neutral one is not enough to deliver equality. Harms compound, just like a dollar saved in its value compounds over time. So does the value of a dollar stolen. And that is why the United States must act immediately with investments in minority-owned businesses, with investments in health equity, with investments in HBCUs, and on the longer term, look at reparations so that we can mend what has been broken.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Hold on a second. I'm really interested here in what Pete Buttigieg was saying, because he said some things there that were actually substantive.
Crossing out a racist policy and replacing it with a neutral one is not enough to deliver equality. Harms compound, just like a dollar saved in its value compounds over time. So does the value of a dollar stolen. And that is why the United States must act immediately with investments in minority-owned businesses, with investments in health equity, with investments in HBCUs, and on the longer term, look at reparations so that we can mend what has been broken.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Look, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different, and we should invest in them.
Thank you, Mr. Biden. Senator Klobuchar, you had your hand up.
Well, I was
Hilarious that we have people that would say that we are betraying Black people, betraying Black America, but not supporting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. When you just sat there, you listen to Joe Biden in a response to a question about reparations for Black Americans, instead of offering us anything, he changed the conversation to Latin America. You know, the next time I talk about D.L. Hughley or Kamala Harris, instead of you writing me or shitting on me or blackballing me or saying you can't invite me on the show, you can't have a conversation, instead of you doing that, you should consider which one of us is really a sellout. Maybe you should swirl that around in your head for a second. You should grapple with the fact that you are spineless. The Democratic Party has made it very clear how they feel about Black America. They don't feel a shit about you. You're not the future of the party. The future of the party are the people that they just let in. Do you think this guy who ended up getting the nomination, that was back in 2020. He got the nomination, and what did he do? He let in 20 million people from the southern border. That's what he did. He fulfilled his promise to them. Yeah, I don't know what's worse. We had Africans in Ghana that sold us out, sold our ancestors out, and we got a Democratic Party that sold us out in today. In today's times, we're getting sold out every day by the Democratic Party. And the worst thing is, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's the worst is that we have Black Americans that are co-signing a shithead like Joe Biden. Yeah, man. So, how does this relate? Well, it relates very clearly. Yeah, America owes us a debt. I don't think we need to get into the middle of this Ghanaian UN. We all know the UN nothing the UN does has any weight. No one really gives a flying fuck about the UN, okay? There's war crimes being committed, you get convicted in UN court, it means nothing. But I can tell you this, it solidifies my beliefs about Israel. It does about those folks over there who not only don't believe that Black Americans deserve reparations, even though that's not really what was on the table. You understand what I'm saying? So it is kind of weird because it's got nothing to do with us. It does, but it doesn't. They want money in our name. They want money in our blood. They want money in our pain and suffering. They want to make money off of our pain and suffering. So basically, God is the Democrats. And what do we get for it? Nothing. Yeah. That's crazy. We got Buttigieg talking about businesses. Black businesses. Black medical health care. About Black health care. And then Black education. And we didn't give him the time of day. Now, don't get it twisted. I think pretty much what Buttigieg was saying was like his last Hail Mary. But at one point, he was sort of in contention. He was running very close to Biden. And then they decided to use Clyburn, and Clyburn threw all the Black America under the bus for his friend Joe Biden, who he didn't ask for a mumbling thing. He didn't ask for shit. They looked at Clyburn and said, Clyburn, you just saved Joe Biden's presidential nomination run. You just gave him the primary. You helped him win South Carolina when he was frailing. Bernie was beating him, and then you gave him this. I was in South Carolina when it happened. I was in South Carolina covering it on the ground at the rally. I watched it happen in real time. They asked Clyburn, they said, Clyburn, what do you want? George Stephanopoulos said, you just gave Joe Biden the win that's going to probably propel him to the Democratic nomination. What do you want? And Clyburn looked into the camera and he didn't say, I want reparations. I want Black businesses to get loans. I want health care for my people. I want HBCUs and educational grants for Black Americans. He looked into the camera and said, I don't want nothing. I don't want anything. I just want Joe to win. What I want us to do is be aware of who's our friend and who's not. And the quicker we accept, we don't have no damn friends. Not in that Democratic Party, who answer to the Democratic elites. Definitely not Ghana's president, whatever his name is. No matter what compromised individuals say who are picking up money from their connections and ties in business dealings with Africa. This shit is an insult and a slap in the face. We should not give it so much airtime. We should not give it so much focus because it only serves to piss us off. We got bigger fish to fry. As pissed off as we are about various things in this country, know this. The only win we've gotten in the last few years has been a Donald Trump in the White House to slow down his immigration that gives us at least a reprieve for a moment to catch our breath and not be totally overrun with being displaced by the future of this country. And it ain't us. And guess what, white America? Working class white America? It ain't you either. Damn, I wish we could work together. The next time you're in the comment section, somebody's trying to tell you how this is a good thing, this reparations movement for Africa is a good thing for them, and how we should support it and don't be a hater and all this bullshit. Tell them I said, kiss my black